How's, how's everybody doing? It's Wednesday, last Wednesday of April. We turn the corner. It'll be May, and then, wow, we're done for the semester. Unbelievable. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff on the agenda. I'm happy to see all of you, even if it's just your name in your Brady Bunch rectangle. It's always good to see people. And let me find the agenda so I can actually follow it. Where is it? Okay. The ELT is finishing up our 12 o'clock meeting, so we'll skip a few people. And I'll start with updating folks on the Regent's resolution. And I don't know if you were able to virtually attend the last Board of Regents meeting on April the 12th. They're open to the public. You can find a link on the Board of Regents website. It is very informative because the president gives an overview, and then whoever the campus is that's hosting, and our turn to host is at the end of May or close to the end of May. And it's interesting to hear the board in its discussions of very important issues. But at the meeting on April 12th, the board discussed and endorsed a resolution which charges the university with creating a vision and a plan. And the resolution is there online. You can find it in the minutes, the materials for the April 12th meeting. In short, in July, the president, on behalf of the university, is going to be asked by the board to present the vision, a holistic view of the university, not, what Manoa is going to do, what West Oahu is going to do, what, not campus by campus, but a holistic view of the university, looking for the priorities for a reimagined university, and not just, what are they going to eliminate or budget reductions. It really is about reimagining the university. And the board has asked the president to continue the engagement with campus constituencies and stakeholders over the next months. So, May, June, and July are not prime time months for lots of people, but there have been these conversations that have been ongoing all through this year, at least at the community colleges. I cannot speak for the 4 years, but at the community colleges, that conversation has happened in the various cross-campus discipline groups. And in May and June, there will be the 10 campus convenings of 2 discipline areas. One is healthcare and the other is education. So those 2 broad areas will have 10 campus convenings coming up. So July is the vision. By November, the board wants the president, again, on behalf of the university, to present a plan. And this plan is to include specific measures that will be taken to achieve this long-term vision and this reimagination of the university, with annual milestones going forward 5 years. So this is going to be a detailed plan based on the consultations and collaborations that have happened over the months, and to assist the board in making decisions about the reimagined university. So it is a very important series of conversations across the university. And right now, I don't have any details about how the president is going to put together this vision for the July meeting of the board. But I imagine that will be discussed with his officers. So the vice presidents and the president will be having those conversations about that visioning process, or that putting that vision together. So let me stop and see if you have questions about this rather big topic. No questions. One question. And two, will there be opportunities for us to give input? Again, I don't know what the president's process is going to be. I don't know how he's going to engage the constituents on the various campuses. I don't know that. How does this relate to the VPCC's proposals for reorganization? It's very much tied into that, Hal. The vice president and the proposals haven't talked so much about reorganization, except in the aspects of centralized services. There hasn't been, other than those centralized services, there hasn't been discussions about structure. No talk about eliminating levels of bureaucracy or eliminating administrative positions or merging campuses or closing campuses, not that kind of reorganization. It's much more, at least in the community colleges, it's much more about centralized services with on-campus service as well connected to that, and better delivery of academic programs, not so much through reorganization as much as rethinking the delivery of the programs. But I'm not party to all of what happens in the campus, cross-campus meetings. So, I mean, I don't know what internal conversations you guys have had about reorganizing campuses or reorganizing departments. I've not heard those things. Other thoughts? Hope that answers the question, Hal. If not, you can unmute and ask me more specific.
I'm just curious, we've all been kind of waiting to hear what Vice President Lacroix, she has supposedly gathered all this
Yes.
input and she's going to give some kind of report. Is
Yes.
this now going to postpone that report until July, until President Lasner comes out with his kind of overarching plan? Or can we still expect to see a plan for the community colleges come out before July?
That's a really good question. And I suspect, and I do not know for a fact, but I suspect that the president's visioning will have some impact on what the vice president decides to do going forward. There was discussions about the vice president and associate vice president doing campus tours in the next couple of weeks. And I'm not so sure that that's going to happen, but I will ask Hal at the next meeting, which is tomorrow. I'll ask if there is going to be any kind of a message, because everybody submitted reports for March 12th and we have not heard back since then. So I'll make sure to ask that question tomorrow, Hal.
Thank you.
And let you guys know. I'm writing it down. Anyone else have a question? Okay. Carol? Jan? Mm-hmm.
I do, and it's sort of a comment. I feel like there have been certain meetings and groups that have met that gave reports to Vice President Lacroix, but I feel like there were still parts of programs and services that never really had an opportunity to be able to be addressed. And I just still want to know if there's going to be an opportunity, and that's why I asked that first question. There's decisions that are being made, and they're being asked to be made in very, very rapidly, and that I'm concerned about that there's enough time for thought. That this is done in a thoughtful, deliberate manner rather than just sort of a knee jerk because they have to have it in a couple months.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that any kind of conversations about academic programs typically will not happen quickly because of the time it takes to make any kind of curricular changes. So there's still opportunities for conversations. I don't know what the milestones are for those conversations that have started for most of them, like financial aid and admissions and continuing ed. Each of them is on a different kind of timeline for implementation, and many of the services, I believe, are going to be phased in over time. For those areas that have not at all been convened for any reason, doesn't mean that they cannot. And if you do, for instance, Jan, have a sense that you would like to have a cross-campus conversation about some program or other that has not yet been convened, then there are certainly things that I can do to help that. And we don't have to wait for the vice president to have cross-campus conversations independent of this vice president's action. Other stuffs? Okay, now that I think everybody's back, let me skip up to Noeau and Maria. You have important things to talk about for participation verification, rolling grades, and CPOS.
There he is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. A couple of things. Participation verification. This one I'll be doing some updates weekly, just to kind of get everybody on the same page. Participation verification. The first time we did it was this spring semester, where students had to participate in some kind of activity to ensure that they are participating in class. All right. And then instructors would have to then use either MyUH. I think they're using, or La Lima, to then record this action. So this will take place again in the summer semester as well as the fall semester. The biggest change is that this will be required for all, we'll be doing this for all POT terms. All right, so in the previous one, we did it just for their traditional 15-week. This one, we're now doing it for all of it. So in the summer, I mean, not as much classes, we'll probably be able to manage it. But the fall semester, we'll be able to do that again. I spoke, I think, at Maria's AAC meeting. We're going to get a Google Doc together of the various emails that will go to students from the instructors, letting them know about the participation verification for them to make edits as well. And I think the other issue might have been with participation verification was what counts as participation. So I know there is the system website that they list various examples, but they also put it up into interpretation. So we might just have a Google Doc just going over the various situations and what might count or may not count, so that faculty have access to it, so it doesn't have to be as hard for them to interpret these rules. So that is it for participation verification. The one thing, as we are closing out the semester, a reminder for all the instructional faculty, just that the final grades are due. So please be worried about that to get the grades in on time, because that allows our Kekalike office to then input the grades on a timely basis. This affects mainly the students who are going to be on financial aid. They might have to do a SAP appeal, where if you're not meeting a certain criteria for your grades or completion of courses, you might have to do an appeal with one of the counselors. So that gets students to do this earlier on, which eventually helps students make a decision to re-enroll. So if you can kind of get that out of the way really quickly, because I think once June hits, a lot of our students who were enrolled, they kind of just don't pay attention to things. So we want to try and catch up in May and do whatever changes we can. And again, these reminders I'll be going through every week. The other reminder, which I kind of talked about briefly, is the CPOS, which is Course Program of Study. All that means is that students who are registering for courses, If they register for courses that are not part of their intended major, whatever is identified in STAR, financial aid will not pay out for those courses, all right? Question is, do we always do this? Yes. However, this time it'll be done automatically in STAR. So when students register off the bat, they can see if courses will be paid out or not. I bring this to everybody's attention. A lot of it will be in the background working with a lot of the counselors as they work with students to make sure they're in the right major or get these changes. But if you are encountering any students who run into these issues, we do currently have a committee that is working on this, the CPOS committee. They will be coming up with some kind of format or some kind of reporting link where if you do run into these issues, to send in the link so that we can fix this on the back end. Now the fixing could take a really quick fix or a really long fix, because obviously it could be affected in STAR, Curriculum Central, Banner, any of those three things, which take, it takes a long time to pinpoint and it takes a long time to move through the approval process. So as these things come up, if you could just report it to us, that would be very helpful. Oh, I'm seeing in the comments, I might have said the student's intended major, I meant the declared major in STAR. So whatever is in STAR will be reading on that course program of study. And I think that's three things. And I know there's a fourth thing. And I signed in when Louise was telling me I was going to speak about something, but I hope that's all.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Rolling grades. You talked about rolling grades?
Final grades and rolling grades. Yeah. All
Okay.
the time. So basically, I think the final grades needs to be put in so that Jerry can roll the grades so that courses that have,
right.
You know, the one that you got to take this one before that one, consecutive courses. Sorry, I am just all over the place.
Also called
consecutive courses, you need the grades to be input. If not, students will not be able to take the next course, or they would be removed from the courses because it's not reported correctly.
And that deadline for the grades is in the chat. So, and I know that Jerry does a lot to remind people multiple times, because what we want to have is 0 missing grades when it's time to roll the grades, so that all the students have their grades and the faculty don't need to have go through the process.
Also know that when we're asking for the final grades, it's really, we're not picking on people. We're trying to roll processes on the back end, and it makes it really hard to run a process if everything isn't in place. So again, if it looks like you might not make the deadline, let us know ahead of time, because it's just really hard to try to figure out what is missing before we can do the entire thing. So, and nothing personal with the grades. We just want to make sure that we can have it ready for when for students' expectations. When we say the grades are going to be available or transcripts will be available, that's really what is affecting the back end, especially with the KKLEK office.
Questions for Noel?
Anybody except the person raising his hand right now?
Yeah.
Anybody other than Naval have a question?
I do. Jan.
Jan, you're getting to be like Dave Evans, you know.
I know. Annoying. So Noel, when it comes to the CPOS and the ability for students to be able to explore classes, maybe they don't know what they really want to do, so that they don't get bumped, and financial aid does cover some things, would be best if they declare liberal arts.
Sorry, can you say that? I think I know what you said, but can you repeat that question one more time?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to eat lunch before I have to teach my class in a few minutes. So do you recommend that students declare themselves a liberal arts major so that they have the opportunity to be able to explore some different types of classes, and that those classes then get covered? We know that there's been some problems with languages when they select languages, that they don't always get covered depending upon the major. And so would you recommend, though, a new student who really wants to just sort of feel some things out and try some different classes be liberal arts major?
So I guess before I answer that, I guess the best person to answer that would be one of the academic counselors. But I think, the reason liberal arts always comes up as the possible first one is because of the flexibility of the courses, especially within the elective category. I believe it's 18 credits or 6 courses. So under that circumstance, I mean, assuming you're a first year student or haven't any previous college credits, then that would be the perfect exploratory major. I think the real issue is really going to be with students who have been liberal arts, who are intending to go to maybe one of our competitive programs like health sciences or nursing, that they have now taken all their prereqs for that, may have not gotten into the major, but wanted to take courses again, but they are now at that maximum of electives. So most likely that will be the student population that will be affected.
Thank you. And as a academic advisor, I needed that answer. Thank you.
All right, I think I'm ready for Navala's question.
All right, go.
So Noel, I think over the past 3 years, like there's folks that use different, like some people use the catalog, some people use STAR to be the arbiter of giving money. So like for veterans, what does Terry use to confirm
I
the
think
class?
for speaking for both VA and financial aid, they will always use the course catalog. So basically, this is an external agency using the catalog that's built within their processes. I know for us as a UA system, STAR is the official thing that we would use. So it's one of those really weird things where you would hope that the external organizations would rely on the expertise of the college, since that's what we are. Unfortunately, there's policies that are built in that they're only going to look at one part. So it is, so for financial aid and the VA, they go based on the catalog because that's what they have access to. Versus STAR, it's not something they have access to, nor would we give them access to. So,
Got it. Okay.
does that kind of make sense? And I hope I said that correctly for VA and financial aid.
It did. I just wanted to kind of bring it up because I'm guilty of the catalog not being identical for specifically AA and liberal arts, that the catalog is not reflective of what's in STAR. What? It's really the curriculum. I mean, if it was to be truly reflective, that means every year we would be redoing the AA and liberal arts, updating the program, because every year CTE or somebody's changing the course name or we're creating a new class. But it's becoming a problem because financial aid uses the catalog, which means they're asking us to update all of our concentrations in liberal arts degrees to update every year. So I'm just trying to figure out a better way to update, like an addendum to the catalog, but to, well, I guess we could send it through every year, but kind of doesn't make sense. I don't know. We'll figure out something, but that was my big thing.
Okay,
Who's
and I think
silent?
there's
Look at
some
that.
clarification for the VA STAR. The VA does use STAR as a reference for course certification.
Okay.
Don't ask me hard questions today.
That was not.
Other questions for Noel?
So I mean, with all this, with the CPLS, participation verification, even that stuff with the catalog, the one thing that we'll be working toward, and this is really between, I guess, student affairs and academic affairs, especially with me and Marie and the deans, is there's going to be a lot of work on the back end, and we might be asking a lot of questions, and it might seem like really nitty gritty in terms of, well, we didn't put this in the course or that in the course. And it's, again, we're not trying to nitpick. What we're trying to do is make sure that the STAR program is accurately reading everything the way it's supposed to, because I think that's when I think, was it the president or somebody made that announcement maybe 5 or 6 years ago that STAR is the official arbiter of our degrees. That is true, but STAR has to be 100% accurate for that to work. And because of all the changes, obviously we have to kind of go back and make these changes, but we always just run into issues here and there. So we will be looking at this more in detail and probably asking more help from the deans and the department chairs to really identify these issues to try and go back. So again, it seems pointless from our end because it makes sense why this course would count but not that. But when you tell a computer and it's not built into the logic, it just can't differentiate it. So that's why we're going to be going through this process.
Okay. Moving on in the agenda. In the Chancellor's updates, one thing more. CVIS, which is the regulatory agency that lays out the regulations and the rules for international students, has actually come out now with their guidance for 2021, 2022. And CVIS has said that the rules that were in place effective March 2020 continue for all of next year, which is that continuing students can be 100% online for this next year. And I don't know if anyone from HIC wants to jump in, but I shared the guidance with the members of the ELT. So if you want to know specifically, you can check with your dean or your vice chancellor about the specifics, but they are continuing the rules for one more year. Any thoughts? Anything? Okay, we're going to jump up to the announcements from the rest because I want to save the finalists for a little bit later. So, Joy, about the Hawaii Food Bank Drive, which is continuing.
Okay, right. So just want to update you guys. It's going to end on this Friday, so 2 more days to put your donation. I'm going to put the URL into the chat box now. So first thing, the Hawaii Food Bank Drive is just one of 2 traditions here we have at KCC, and we only do this twice a year. I know most of us give back to our community in different ways, so don't feel obliged or pressured to make this monetary donation because I know we are already contributing in many ways. So the second point I want to make is that the food bank needs food, right? But when we go shopping at Costco and we buy food, like say $50 worth of Costco food, it really only fills up maybe half our back seat, in the car. Whereas at the food bank, they buy at super, super low wholesale prices. And when you give them $50, it fills up a whole car. So instead of buying food and donating physical items to Costco during this COVID period, they much prefer if you donate cash instead. So I put the URL in the chat already. And the way to donate is just 3 simple steps. You go to that website that I just put the URL there. And then after you put in the amount that you want to donate, and you just have to put in the comments or the additional comments box and just put UH, Kapiolani Community College, and then that will be attributed to us. And then finally, the third step is you just send the receipt either to your department secretary or email it to me, and then we'll add it to our spreadsheet. What's the spreadsheet for? It's for a pizza party for the department with the highest amount. So let me just grab the currently host is leading.
Oh,
yeah. They're leading at 800. And I just put the other URL there. Some people might not be able to see the leaderboard because of some settings in your Google account. And admin is leading with 710. And the library is third. So we're hoping you all catch up with us. Do you have any questions about this Hawaii Food Bank Drive? If not, no question. That's good. Thank you, everyone. So this Friday is the last day to donate up to kind of like midnight. We're going to keep it rolling, and you can keep checking how your department is doing And hopefully the best team will win. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Joy, so much for coordinating and reminding us about how important it is to give whatever we can. Okay. I have a couple of quick ones. If you're paying attention to the news, you may have heard about the CDC changing its guidance on masks in open spaces, but I'm here to remind you that the UH and campus policy has not changed. And that is that while on campus, we ask that everyone wear masks while they're on the campus. And until the UH decides to make changes, we will abide by that policy. So please do continue to wear your masks on campus. And CESI. So the Community College Survey of Student Engagement is critical for a few of the units on the campus, the library, technology, and student services. So those of you who are in contact with students, please encourage them to complete the survey. I didn't put the link in the URL, I apologize, but thank you, Lisa. That's the flyer that says if you enter and complete, you can win a laptop or AirPods or voucher to the bookstore, but only if you're a currently enrolled Kapi'olani students. I think I told you last week, faculty tried to get their own laptop, but faculty cannot complete the survey, so no. But please do encourage your students to do that. Okay, we're down to Tony Silva, interstate passport update. Before Tony gets to start, I'm just going to say that today I got notification, I think it was actually through an email that John Rand sent, that NSF is funding a community college, and now the name escapes me, I can't remember which one it was, to do a WICHE interstate passport for STEM.
Cool.
So this is a very good time for Tony to be telling us what is an interstate passport. Got nothing to do with COVID or crossing boundaries. Go.
Thank you, Louise. Yes, folks may have heard of the interstate passport, or you might not have heard about it. Basically, it's a program developed by WICHE, which is the Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education. And the purpose of the program is to help facilitate student transfer. So institutions become members of the Interstate Passport Network, and those institutions agree to accept the transfer of general education requirements as a block, so one piece, rather than piecemeal or course-by-course articulation. And what this does is it helps to reduce the possibility that students will lose credit for the courses that they've taken. It helps them save time and money, and it actually, according to the research, helps them, or rather increases student chances of graduating at the university to which they transfer. The UH system joined this interstate passport network towards the end of spring 2020. So at CAPCC, under Dean Nava'a's leadership, a number of faculty, instructional faculty and counseling faculty, as well as staff and as administrators, have been working for a little over 2 years to implement the interstate passport on our campus, KCC. Thanks to the meticulous work, especially of the folks at Kekaulike Center, specifically Jerry, our amazing registrar, as well as Chad Yasuda and Darrett Tano, who are our star builder wizards. We were able to get all of the work necessary involved in implementing the passport on campus. And last semester, CAPCC awarded its first group of passports to 356 students. So that is our first cohort, and students receive notation on their transcript, and they also receive an electronic letter from the registrar notifying them of their achievement and encouraging them to continue their academic journey by transferring. And I think that's about it.
Looks like Nava'a wants to say something. No. Okay, my bad.
The campus does have some information on its website. There's an interstate passport page. I can put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to read up on the passport at KCC. And it also links to the main passport page if you want more details.
Thanks, Tony. Questions for Tony?
I have one.
Yeah, I knew.
No, Tony did a lot of the legwork, and he's so good with really with his assessment knowledge, really looking at how do we group courses together so they actually meet the interstate passport. We met yesterday, and I think our goal is to at least get, in the near future, to at least get 5 to 10 students who actually use it. But not too sure how many students want to transfer to like North Dakota University. But hopefully we can find people who actually use it.
Yeah, currently there are 17 states and 59 institutions in the network. And there are colleges and universities in California, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, Utah, North and South Dakota, Alaska, etc.
Yeah. Good.
And I think approximately a dozen more states exploring membership.
Yep. Thank you, Tony, very much for the work that led to the passport and for continuing to promote the passport. Okay, back to the announcements. Carol.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I have a couple of announcements. One of them is about this evening's Kaya Ulu webinar, which is called How the Placement Test Works. And that's done in collaboration with Student Affairs, and Sheldon most normally leads the discussion, and he's featuring many people from Student Affairs to do that. I encourage you and people that you know, if you have people who are thinking about coming to college, that they participate. This is actually a 4-part series that we're doing with him. And I even have my granddaughter from Alaska participating in these. I found out yesterday she's graduating first in her high school class. So I hope she decides to come to Hawaii. Anyway, the next announcement is about the digital readiness classes. I've mentioned this before. We're offering classes all throughout the month of May. And so if you know people who do not know how to use a computer or who have very little experience with it, please let them know that we are offering free classes for them to come and learn how to use the computer, how to get onto the internet, how to create an email. And they're going to have access to some wonderful resources that will help them learn more. And the classes, because people are not online right now, we're going to be offering those things to our chancellor, allowing us to do face-to-face. Classes are only going to be 3 to 10 maximum, and they'll be offered in the Monono 112 A and B classrooms. And again, they're free to adult learners, and we're hoping that they'll use this as a stepping stone to further training on the campus, or hopefully to enter into credit classes. And we will be handing out information about upcoming credit offerings and so forth. So hope you'll decide to give some information to us. If you're interested, contact us, Continuing Ed Registration Office. And for the webinar, I'm going to put that information into the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Dale, for putting stuff in. Lisa, can I put a comment about the Pahihi students could use the information? I don't know if Shannon's on today. But Carol, you've shared this with Shannon, right?
Carol,
We'll go ahead and send the flyer to them again in case it didn't get over there for some reason. we'll send it.
Good idea. Takes 7 times before somebody acts. So,
Okay, thank you. And
okay.
I see that Dale already put the information, so there, I'll erase my message.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to turn to HR for a few updates. So Dustin would like to explain a little bit about the HoloCard.
Hi, yeah, so I actually don't know a whole lot about the card itself. I just know that the system, the OHR office at Manoa does have some cards that a limited supply of cards that they're willing to distribute to the campuses. We are collecting a list of names per the instructions of OHR, a list of interest basically, and we're going to submit that list. We already have quite a few people interested, but because the supply is limited, we can't guarantee that anyone or everyone gets a card. This is the sort of the replacement to the bus pass. The Holo card has been kind of a thing for about a year. When we had the bus pass program, we used to provide bus passes to employees, and they could pay for it pre-tax. We ended that program though, and as part of the conclusion to that program, anyone that was currently signed up got a Holo card. That was about a year ago. The bus has announced that effective June 20, they're going to stop doing the bus pass. The Holo card is going to replace the bus pass. So in anticipation of that, we are putting this list together. We plan on submitting this list at the end of the day on Monday. So we're going to close our Google form at about 4 o'clock on Monday. That's May 3rd. And that's it.
And Darsha's put the URL for additional information. Questions for Dustin? Okay, thank you, Dustin. I'd like to ask Darsh to update us on search for Shaka. And I didn't even get a chance to go to the website today. I've been in Zooms all of this time. So I didn't even get to ask the question, but where are we with Shaka?
I've heard that suddenly Wednesday, 10 o'clock has become so important that people are trying to reach out to other people and distracting them from participating. But I'll definitely share the update for this week. But before I do that, I would just like to remind that April 30th is the last day for flexible spending open enrollment. So if you want to enroll or re-enroll for the upcoming year, April 30 is the last day. And for EUTF open enrollment, May 14 is the last date in order. It was extended from April 30 to May 14, but that is only for EUTF, that is medical, drug, vision, dental, and life insurance. Okay, so if I have your permission, can I share my screen?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh,
Can?
yes. Yeah. Okay, so I have, oh, the scoreboard is not working. Let me do that. Oh, yeah. So we have new players in the contest, and it has been updated as of last week. This week's contest is still open and would close tomorrow, 10 o'clock. So the competition is on and people are on it at 10 o'clock. So if your Wi-Fi is not working, I apologize in advance with the heavy traffic. And I would also like to update regarding the 75th anniversary shirt. If you haven't placed your order, this Friday is the last day to place the order. So make sure you get your orders in. And we are already planning for the 100th anniversary. So we are collecting photos so we can have a historical timeline. So I'm requesting you to send your photos with the 75th anniversary t-shirt so we can include that and make a beautiful collage of the number 75. So if you have any of your pictures taken, or if you haven't or even ordered, please make sure you order and send us your photo with the white background with any of the t-shirt, doesn't matter whether it's dry fit or not. But we'll be doing a photo collage with all different photos that we receive. Any questions?
I think Angela has it right. 10 a.m. sabotage. I can see. You have to, I guess you have to enlist friends to distract other people, because you don't want to be distracted when it's 9:59. So you get your friend to send Roman a note, or Jamie a note, or a telephone call or a text to make it bing, bing just at 10 o'clock. Because we know how attached we are to that sound. We just stop and look at the phone. Okay, well, I have to go back today and find Shaka because I didn't even get to do it yet today. Questions for Darsh? Oh, no. Oh, okay. That will hamper you, yeah, Roman? Dang, that technology. Okay, last two things on our agenda are announcing the finalists for 2 awards. For the longest time, we've had a Board of Regents Award for the Excellence in Teaching, which we have for I don't even know how long, decades, giving that award to any faculty member who serves students. And this year we have 3 finalists, which I will share with you in a minute. But because of the nature of online learning and teaching, the campus has created another award, the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs Award for Excellence in Online Teaching. And this is the first year that that award will be offered and given to someone. So this is the inaugural, this will be the first person, the first faculty member to win the award will be chosen this year. But first we have the finalists. So if I could ask Maria, our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, to let people know who are the finalists for the first ever award for excellence in online teaching.
Okay, drum roll. Okay, we have 5 of them. First one is Amanda Candens. She teaches religion from the Arts and Humanities Department. The other one is, number 2 is Kahele Cruz, who teaches Hawaiian Studies. And then Phoebe Wang teaches community health worker course. And then we have Justin Kong, who teaches math, and Rachel Lindsay, who teaches anatomy and physiology. So you'll find out who won next week.
Next week. Congratulations to the finalists, all of them deserving. And they would be great people if you wanted to find out how to put together an engaging online class. Those are the people you'd want to go to see how they do things and get some help, some guidance. So I will get to announce the 3 finalists for the Regents Excellence in Teaching Award. And the first is John Baristecki, who teaches microbiology. The second is Kiamiwao Koide, who is in the paralegal program, and Megan Walker, who teaches psychology. So yay for those 3 finalists. We will be announcing the winners at the Zoom next week, and we will celebrate them at convocation. Typically, the celebration would happen at commencement, but we're not going to be doing commencement the way we normally do. So we will make sure that we celebrate them in the fall at convocation. Congratulations to all of the finalists and all of the faculty who were nominated at some point in this process. It is highly selective, and it is a remarkable achievement to be nominated. So congratulations to all of you guys. And that's it from our side. Anybody have things they want to share with the campus right now? Hi, Lisa.
It will be, it's kind of a delicate question. Will we be doing anything for Mauricio?
Oh, thank you. I didn't put it down somewhere. Yeah.
It's okay.
So we've lost Mauricio Teraoka, who has been many things on this campus over his years of association. We know him best as the cactus gardener, but he was a student in culinary. He was a student of journalism. He was the photographer for the school newspaper. He was a poet, a writer. He was a man who had lived many lives. There's a really wonderful profile of him online in the Memory Project. So if you Google Mauricio Teraoka Memory Project, you'll see the amazing sides of his many lives. We are in touch with Sam, who is also a legendary gardener in the cactus garden, and Sam is in touch with Colin, who is Mauricio's son, and we will be informed of the services. I don't imagine it would be a big open affair just because of where we are with a pandemic, but you can be sure that the campus will make sure to send something to the family on behalf of the campus for the services. I'm hoping to do something to honor Mauricio at fall convocation again. And if you have some ideas about what you'd like to do to honor him, I'd be happy to entertain any and all of your suggestions. We do have a bronze plaque in the garden area with Mauricio's face and in dedication to him, but there's more that we can do. I don't know what happened to all of the cards that were on the poetry.
Yeah.
I don't know where they went, but that was quite a remarkable project that he had developed with everybody, all kinds of people putting up their poems and hanging them on the tree.
Thank you.
Did you have other things you wanted to say about it, Lisa?
No, I mean, he took so many LLL classes, and I think several of the faculty in LLL asked what we could do to honor him, and I wanted to make sure that I saw that there was an announcement in the bulletin, but I thought it should be appropriate if there was a campus announcement, and then maybe as a department we'll talk about any ideas that we have. But
Yeah.
that's all I know for now. But thank you for mentioning it.
I wonder if we could do readings of the stuff that he wrote.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe we could find something, a poem or something that he wrote, and maybe a faculty member whose class he took could honor him by reading it. But I'll talk to folks in LLL to see what they think.
I do remember when we did a reading on campus, I think it was Mavis's, right? Something about the rice bowl. What was it was it Mavis's book about rice? Yeah. And they had that rice tasting contest. There are like 8 different kinds of rice, and you had to determine which was this kind of rice and that kind of rice and some other kind of rice and the cheap Hinode rice and the really expensive Japanese rice. And Mauricio was the only one who got them all right.
Sounds like a Mavis thing, yeah. Thanks for mentioning it. I'll ask faculty what kind of ideas they have. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Other thoughts, either about Mauricio or anything else you want to share with the campus right now? Okay, hearing none, I wish you a happy rest of the week to the end of April. Stay well, be good to each other, be good to yourself. You know what the flight attendants tell you, put the mask of oxygen on yourself before you help others. So it's very important for self-care. Cindy has been giving us lots of advice on self-care, so please do take it into consideration as you go through this still difficult time. I cherish these days. I cherish this Wednesday Zoom, and I'll see you next week, Wednesday, with the winners of the awards. Bye, everybody. Unmute and say goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Whoop.